Hey there, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing a full video on my top 10 fragrances for spring this year in 2021. I just went through my collection and picked out fragrances that in some cases I've already started wearing and that I hope to wear for the whole season. So if you haven't subscribed already, definitely do subscribe. It really helps out my channel and being able to make videos for you guys 3+ times a week, and you can follow me on Instagram as well. All that information and links to stores I shop to and everything is in the description, always. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first fragrance actually that I've already started wearing a little bit and that I'm really looking forward to wearing this spring is my only Diptyque fragrance, and that's Dolce. And this is a very green tuberose fragrance. It's got supposedly some iris in there that on my skin doesn't really get pronounced, unfortunately, but it's a really beautiful green floral. And like I say, the tuberose is very, very strong in this, and I really like it. Anything green and floral really takes me to spring. Groundbreaking, I know. But it's true. I mean, those are kind of my favorite super springy type fragrances to wear are florals, and that's my favorite time of the year to wear them, even though I wear them throughout the year, and they're different types of florals, but the kind of lighter daytime florals and green fragrances are really favorites of mine. So that's one that since I picked up in wintertime, I'm really looking forward to kind of wearing a lot and enjoying in the springtime. And it's quite a strong fragrance, so if you live somewhere where the spring weather is very volatile and can be super cold and super warm, like I do, it's a nice one to wear for like colder spring days because it's a stronger fragrance. You can kind of really get away with wearing it on the colder days as well. Another one that you can get away with wearing, and I'm on my second bottle of this, so you know it's a gem, and it's a celebrity fragrance, is Deseo by Jennifer Lopez. This is one of my favorite celebrity fragrances of all time. I bought my first bottle of this because of like a sample, and it was one of those samples in magazines that are just like the rubbed ones where it's like you just peeled them. I don't even know if magazines have that anymore, but yeah, I distinctly remember being so into that sample, and then I had a little, like a 2 ml, finished that, and I found a bottle. Went through the entire bottle, and I went a couple years, maybe 2-3 years without one, and then I found a larger bottle someplace, maybe Marshall's or something, and I picked it up. This is the full 100 ml. I love this fragrance. Again, it's a green floral. It's supposed to smell like her private gardens, so it's got a very like woody base to it, and it definitely smells like an enchanted garden. It's very mature for celebrity scent, I would say, and the most mature scent I've ever smelled from Jennifer Lopez. But I don't want you to scare you off from it, because it really is beautiful, and I think it's just more complex and layered than people give it credit for. I also love, just because it's not a super popular fragrance and it's been discontinued, so if you can find it, it's usually at a pretty good deal, and I love the bottle. It's kind of like this stunning uncut gem. The cap is plastic, but the base is really, really beautiful. So that is my second pick. And then we're gonna get to, again, some more green florals. So this is my favorite fig fragrance ever to date, because I am actually not that into fig, I'll be quite honest. This is Mediterranean Fig by Pacifica. I've gone through half of it because I actually took this away with me on a trip to Jamaica, I think to Montego Bay. So it just completely transports me back to Montego Bay. But all that aside, I love this. I love this fragrance. And this is kind of, it gives me everything I need from a fig fragrance when and if I'm in the mood. So I really don't get drawn to other fig fragrances. I have a couple and I tend to not like them. But this one I always come back to. So I just think it's fresher than the others. And I don't like when fig gets jammy, and I don't like when it gets too airy either. I feel like it needs something to ground it, but I don't like it when it gets grounded in like a jammy, sweet. Yeah, jammy fragrances in general, unless it's rose, are hit or miss for me. So yeah, I really do like this one. Again, super inexpensive. These Pacifica ones, I have Persian rose as well. Really like it if you like a rose water scent. They're quite nice, so I would like to check out some more, but that's a really nice one, and I always pull it out around springtime. And then another fragrance that I took away on holiday with me and now just takes me exactly to that break is by Hermes, and it's Un Jardin sur le Toit. I love this fragrance. This just takes me immediately back to Greece, and it's heartbreaking because if you guys have been watching me for a while, you know how big travel is to my life, to my happiness. I talk about it all the time, to scent memory, and I really, really, really miss it. So I cannot wait to be able to travel again. And yeah, this is just Greece in a bottle for me personally. But in terms of a scent, again, it's very green. This has the kind of like a grassiness to it as well. Like it's I don't want to say it's herbal in that way, but it's definitely green. Like it's definitely grassy and green and a little bit tart and a little floral. I just like it. I really like this Jardin series. I only have two. I have this one and Le Jardin de Monsieur Lee. And I like that one as well. And I always think about kind of rounding up the entire collection and buying all of them, but then trying to pull back, and then I'll buy other things and not these. So who knows? In general, though, I would say I really enjoy the range. And if you can pick out one or two from the Jardin series from Hermes, I really think that everyone's going to find a scent that really works for them. All right, so the next one is a one I'm not going to spend a lot of time on because I've mentioned it a bunch of times now. I talk about it all the time, it seems like, and every time I do, so many of you say you're going to try it out or that you finally are going to give it a try, and that makes me so happy because I just think I maintain it's very underrated. So this is Boucheron Fleurs. This is like quintessential spring fragrance for me. It's an airy floral. It's a little sweet. It's as if I've described it before, but it's really as if like dew is sitting on the flowers, and maybe it's because of the fruit notes in this that it gives it that juicy wateriness, but it's not aquatic. I just love it. I really, really love this fragrance. There is something about this combination that makes me happy. It just brightens up the day in the way that, you know, the first couple days or weeks of spring can do, especially if you live somewhere where you have a very harsh winter. Those first few days of spring, they're like a high like no other. And this is really, it just smells like that to me. It smells like everything defrosted and the flowers and like bright, fresh sunshine. I really think it's a perfect quintessential spring fragrance. Out of all of them, this is the one immediately that came to mind because this is when I think of spring fragrance, that is my spring fragrance. So Boucheron Fleurs, super inexpensive. Definitely recommend. No one ever talks about it except for me that I've seen. I mean, I'm sure people do, but it's an underrated gem for sure. Then on the other side of the price spectrum, love Mimosa by Amouage. I'm really looking forward to pulling this out again. I took a little break from this one because of the fuzziness of Mimosa sometimes on this gets to me, especially because, and I love this about Amouage, but especially because they really do stick around for hours and hours and hours, the full day basically, on clothing into the next day, and you got to be careful to like the scent. And I definitely do like this. This is most likely my favorite Mimosa scent. It's just, I gotta be careful with how many days in a row I wear this because the mimosa can get fuzzy. Right now as I'm smelling it, I adore it and I cannot wait to wear it. It makes me want to wear it tomorrow. I haven't smelled it in a while, so I feel like I'm right back on track to loving it. It's just not the kind of fragrance where I can wear like many days in a row and make my signature scent, because after a while, at least for me, it just gets a little bit too fuzzy the way mimosa can. But otherwise, it's so beautiful, you guys. It is, again, because it's stronger, you can get away with wearing this on the colder, windy spring days because it really does stick around and it'll stay with you throughout the day, so you don't have to be worried about wearing something that's a little too leaning towards the summer or airy side. That's a really good one to kind of carry you through the transition of the colder but super sunny spring days. Then my next one is what I call my cotillion fragrance. I don't know why, but this just, it reminds me of something I haven't experienced, which is cotillion, which is a tradition, for those of you who don't know, in like southern states, and I think New York, like some areas in the world have cotillion and some don't. It's like a coming of age party thing for girls when they're like in their late teens. I think of this reminding me of like a southern cotillion because it reminds me of a lot more like fuzzy dresses and like very like poofy ones, some taffeta, big hair, like May time. I don't even know if that's when cotillion is, but it reminds me of May because this is Magnolia Nobile, by the way, by Acqua di Parma. And magnolias really bloom a lot in May and June, but yeah, this fragrance just reminds me of May, and like a Southern belle would definitely wear this. That's what it evokes for me. A beautiful Southern belle in the springtime. And I love this fragrance. Again, it's probably my favorite magnolia fragrance. I don't have that many, so this one comes to mind when I'm in the mood for magnolia. And it's just bright. It's bright and floral, and for being an eau de, like it's an eau de parfum, but for being such a citrusy floral, because it definitely has that like quintessential Acqua di Parma citrus, it really doesn't just fade away. And I think it's a really nice like daytime date fragrance as well, because it's super feminine and soft, but manages to linger. And then we get to a fragrance that I've really had extreme highs and low lows with, but I am looking forward to pulling it out again this spring and enjoying it on the days I do. And this is Dolce Garden by Dolce & Gabbana. This was really hyped last year. I haven't smelled it in a while again, so I'm kind of missing it, which is the best thing to do. It's always my trick I mention. If you like a fragrance but you're unsure, give it a long break and then come back, and that'll be like the best decider. Right now, as I'm smelling it, I am totally all over this, and that isn't always the case with Garden, because I think it's the coconut and the gourmandness of this, which you wouldn't expect, can go either way. Sometimes it really just turns my stomach, and other times I'm enamored with it. Today, as I'm smelling it, you guys, it's gonna be tough to choose between this and Mimosa Love Tomorrow, or Love Mimosa, because it's just really hitting right now. It's beautiful. The name is misleading. I feel like this is, again, a kind of good one for the fuzzier spring days, because you can get away, it does last a long time, and you can get away with kind of overspraying it on the colder spring days, but wearing it more lightly on the warmer spring days. All right, and second last, we're gonna get to a fragrance that honestly, I just absolutely adore, and I really don't hear, like I'm hearing more recently, but I felt like it really wasn't getting as much hype as fragrances in this range usually do. So this is Feminin Pluriel by Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and I adore this fragrance, and I really feel like sometimes it's just overlooked, because there are so many fragrances in this house that have like a cult following, and this really isn't one of them. But it is a beauty, and it really is just kind of like a mélange of all these different florals wrapped up in one, but it still manages to be clean. It's not heady in any way. And it's exactly what Francis Kurkdjian was looking to create, which is kind of this mixture of all these florals that are super feminine and that showcase all the different facets of what a woman is. And I think he demonstrated that really beautifully in this scent. I love it. It manages to be feminine and soft and clean and simple, and yet, you know, it really doesn't remind me of any of my other florals that I own, and I own many. I feel like I'd be able to pick it out from a crowd, and even more surprisingly, it has that like quintessential long-lasting performance that MFK fragrances have, and I wasn't expecting that because it does smell like it's going to be a lighter fragrance, and yet it is lighter, but the performance and the sillage is 100% there. The way that it can last through the day and on clothing, you know, into the next day. And it's so surprising, and I'm so happy because it's not a beast mode fragrance, but it has beast mode performance, if that makes any sense. So anyone who I see either has told me or that I see has picked it up more recently after I've spoken about it, it makes me happy. So if you do pick it up, definitely give me a shout, because I really think it's a beautiful fragrance, especially if you like florals, and it's a really nice one for spring. And then lastly, we have Gucci Bloom Acqua di Fiori. And this one, I've been familiar with it for a while because my mom actually wore this for a couple years. And I like it. I've seen recently that it's been on sale at certain shoppers. So if you're in Canada, keep an eye out. And that's where I actually got mine. And I'm really happy I did, because it's a very earthy green vines and leaves kind of floral. And because of the green notes in this are so authentic smelling, it leans bitter. Not in like a bad way, just in the way that if you're smelling like plants and stuff, the leaves and the thorns and the earth, like it smells authentic. So it has that like slight bitterness to it that is, bitter is probably not even the best word to use, but it's that like realistic scent, which I really like. And it makes it a lot more expensive and interesting smelling than had it been just kind of your more generic green floral. I've said before, I like a green fragrance, but it really needs to be done well. I've really never liked like a super inexpensive super green fragrance the way I have the more expensive ones. I feel like green fragrances are a category of scent that I like more and more the more expensive they are. And this isn't that pricey, but I just mean that as they get more expensive, I find that they are better made. And I don't know what the intricacies of those are because I'm not a perfumer, but it's just an area that I've seen. Whereas like a powdery fragrance or even a gourmand, I like at every price point, and sometimes I like the cheaper ones more. Green is harder to place. So yeah, this is a really nice one. And again, if you can find it for a deal, definitely do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video of my top 10 spring scents. Let me know which ones you will be wearing. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.